I'm having breakfast with Mary Lee. Yo-do-do-do-dee. I'm having breakfast with Mary Lee.
Hey there, so grateful for yet another opportunity to get together around the Breakfast with Barry Lee table. Now, for those of you of a certain age, if I say, step on a crack, you know what comes next. Break your mother's back, right? On the podcast this week, silly sayings and silly sounds from our childhood that still reside in our adult brains. Speaking of step on a crack, break your mother's back, when I'm down on the Old Town Mall, walking from the Braddock Street Auto Park on down towards the walking mall itself, there's that sidewalk. Yep, I avoid the cracks. Isn't that weird that something from your childhood still sticks in your brain like that? Anyway, before we talk about silly sayings from our childhood, let's tackle the brain buster. A new study reveals that parents wait too late to do this with their kids. Wait too late to do what with their kids? Is it A, have a sex talk, B, start a savings account, or C, go to church? The answer at the end of the show. So, as I stated just a second ago, it amazes me how many of my childhood phrases that I used in elementary school or junior high still find their way to my adult life. For example, if I'm doing something that maybe others frown upon, I might blurt out, "It's a free country." Or to emphasize that I'm telling the truth, cross my heart, hope to die, I leave out the part of stick a needle in my eye. And if somebody calls you a name, I know you are, but what am I? Which was brought back big time with Pee Wee Herman in the mid-'80s. And the other day when I encountered some overactive, irritating kids, in my mind I thought, fart blossoms. That was common in the 60s, and in my circle of friends and cousins, we were fart blossoms. But speaking of farts, my Facebook post over the weekend with the squeeze bottle fart sound, thankfully there were a good number of you that have had similar experiences. And by the way, I was inspired to post that video because I was having lunch with a good friend of mine recently at a restaurant, and when I went to squirt the ketchup onto my fries, the bottle tooted. And we both let out a giggle, and it struck me that even people with all kinds of degrees and titles, they can find some humor in a fart sound too. So it's not just my immature junior high sense of humor, it's a universal sound. Just like the children's book, Everybody Poops, we all have flatulence, we all take in air. The air we take in, combined with intestinal gases, equals flatulence. It's part of our anatomy and who we are, and for many of us, we still find some joy or humor in a good rip. And as humans, sometimes it seems like we're infatuated with flatulence. I mean, why else would we have so many phrases to highlight the common fart? Are you ready? Air biscuit, bottom burp, trouser trumpet. But wait, there's equal time for the ladies. Skirt lifter. Farts can also be called a butt whistle. Barking spiders, barking squirrels, blowing bum kisses, one cheek squeak, sphincter siren, thunder from down under, a couch frog, booty-tootie, seam splitter, smuggling ducks, bassoon tuning, toot salute, release the kraken. You get the idea. And how about the names for the person that's responsible for the gas leak? They might be referred to as Farticus, or Fartholomule, or Fart Garfunkel. And we humans have even created certain games or rules when it comes to flatulence. Like the phrase, whoever smelt it, dealt it. In other words, keep your mouth shut if you're in the presence of a silent but deadly release. And the whoever smelt it, dealt it phrase takes care of those people who let go of a quiet one in a classroom or a car and try to blame it on somebody else by exclaiming, "Ooh, who farted?" Yeah, before you blurt that out, remember, whoever smelt it, dealt it. Now, growing up in my family with a brother who was 5 years older, we had this little game whereby if you let one go, whether it was silent or out loud, you had to exclaim, "Safety!" Otherwise, anyone around you was allowed to slug you in the arm if they heard or smelled anything. Now, the code word safety has been passed on to my kids and nephews who are in their 30s and 40s. And at family gatherings, you occasionally hear safety, which is really like a courtesy call, a courtesy alert. But we humans have such an infatuation with flatulence that companies have produced toys or gag gifts that simulate the sound of breaking wind. By show of hands, how many at some point have owned a whoopee cushion? You know, you blow a little air into that flat rubber bladder, you set it under a cushion, and then patiently wait for an innocent victim. I would even take mine shopping. In the wintertime, you could place it under your coat and just walk through the store, press your arm against your coat, and voila! Of course, it was best to let it rip when you were walking by somebody bending over to trying on a pair of shoes. And then the technology advanced to the point that the rubber cushions gave way to electronic farts with a remote control. You could set the small device on a coffee table or near a chair and activate it from across the room. Back when my son was a teenager, we were doing travel hockey. One of the parents brought along one of these devices, and it was very entertaining for we adults. We could sit around in the hotel lobby, leave it sitting behind a lamp, and then activate it from across the room and look at the reactions. And while we're in the neighborhood of the behind, another target of juvenile humor was underwear. Undies, skivvies, tighty-whities. How many in elementary school, upon seeing somebody's underwear showing, would say, "Teacher, teacher, I declare, I see someone's underwear." And the intent, of course, was to embarrass the exposee. Now, I will say that that is a phrase that I have not used as an adult. Although, I will admit that from time to time, when my wife is undressing for bed, I have let out with a, "I see England, I see France, I see someone's underpants." Can you imagine the number of eye rolls over 40 years of marriage? But nah, I'm just pulling your leg. I only did that one time, on our honeymoon. Anyway, the infatuation with underwear for junior high guys continued with a maneuver called the wedgie. That's where you come up behind an unsuspecting classmate and pull the underwear high and hard for a precision placement into the butt crack. If this happened in the hallway at school between classes and you didn't have time to step into a bathroom to make an adjustment, you had to suffer through the entire period. And love of underwear goes beyond just school antics. I mean, look at the fashion trend that Madonna started of underwear as outerwear and continued by celebrities like Kendall Jenner and Sydney Sweeney. But it really does amaze me how some of these silly sayings and sounds of our childhood just lie dormant deep within the contours of our brain, only to surface when we least expect it, like squeezing a mayonnaise bottle. Alrighty, and on that note, let's take a look at the podcast planner and see what's going on this week. Monday, the 27th, it's Love is Kind Day. It's a day for all victims of domestic violence and domestic abuse to celebrate their freedom and independence from their abuser. It's also National Korean War Veterans Armistice Day. It commemorates the end of the Korean War, July 27, 1953, and salutes those who served. Tuesday, the 28th, it's Buffalo Soldiers Day, commemorating the formation of the first regular Army regiments comprising African American soldiers in 1866. It's also National Milk Chocolate Day. Milk chocolate invented in 1875. Thank you, thank you. Wednesday, the 29th, it's National Chicken Wing Day. It's also National Lasagna Day. On Thursday, the 30th, it's National Support Public Education Day. It's National Father-in-Law Day, National Chili Dog Day, and National Cheesecake Day. Friday, the 31st, it's National Mutt Day. We love our mixed breeds. It's also National Talk in an Elevator Day. Depending on how far you have to go, it's always good that somebody breaks the silence by saying something. Or if you really want to make people feel uncomfortable, just turn with your back to the elevator door and face everybody that's facing out. No, don't do that. On Saturday, we start a brand new month. It's August the 1st. It's National Girlfriend's Day. It's also National Sunflower Day. The sunflower, a symbol of adoration, loyalty, and longevity. And on Sunday the 2nd, it's National Sisters Day and National Ice Cream Sandwich Day. On Ice Cream Day in elementary school, the ice cream sandwich was my always go-to selection. All right, let's see how you did on the Brain Buster. The question was, a new study reveals that parents wait too late to do this with their kids. They wait too late to do what with their kids? Is it A, have a sex talk, B, start a savings account, or C, go to church? And the answer is A, have the old birds and the bees talk. Thank you so much for spending these 10 minutes with me. In closing, when we talk about things that we hear as kids, how about that goodnight prayer when your parents were tucking you in? Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. No wonder we couldn't get to sleep as kids. We're presented with a scenario that we could end up dying in our sleep. What a comforting way to end the day. Anyway, have a blessed week.